Hi, this is Roger. Thanks for dropping by. Welcome to another Everything in Bloom on the 8th. Now, this is a regular monthly video, as near as possible on the 8th. Normally on the 8th, but sometimes it conflicts with something else. But today it is the 8th. And what we do in this one is we've expanded this one. It used to be only things in bloom. But nowadays I include spikes and buds, in other words, things to come soon, as well as what's actually open. And we just go round the greenhouse looking at what's going on over and above just the greenery. Right, it's traditional to start over on the left, and as normal over on the left there's next to nothing going on, but there's some sneaky stuff going on. Now, first of all, Restrepias. Now on this side there are 3, but there's only 1 in bloom, so we'll do that one now. Trying to focus on this will be difficult, but I will do what I can. So I've got a magic button I can press that allows me to get in quite close. Hopefully that's in focus. Very pretty, lovely deep burgundy, I suppose you'd call that, either side of the top part of the coloured section. So that's that one. I'll do pop-ups for the names. Saves me struggling. Right, now over here in this sea of green there are things going on, but they're hiding basically. So what we've got here is a Dendrobium nobile type, and these are not buds yet, but they will be soon. I always call these nubbins, and many others do in the orchid world as well. They are what exists prior to the buds, because eventually these will start to grow, and then on the end of what grows out from the stem will be the buds. On this one, normally 2, but sometimes 3. So those are to come, and the nobile next to it I don't think has any signs yet. No. Right, so that's everything over there. Then we come round to here, and there isn't much going on here, is there? No. Nothing going on here at the moment, but there should be in the not too distant future. Nothing going on down here, but if we get this pile of junk out the way, one of these cymbidiums, this is the one that's possibly got a virus, that has a spike, just started, so we should get blooms on that a long way down the line, not yet, but a long way off. Most of my cymbidiums are in bud. Then we come over here and we've got the dregs of this Oncidium species that is virtually over. Now I can only see one bloom that's not actually finished yet, and the chances of me focusing on it are virtually 0 because it is so tiny. But I will see what I can do. You gonna zoom? You gonna get it? No, probably not. They're virtually over anyway, so that's nearly gone. And then here, this is Oncidium intergeneric basically, although I think it's classed as Oncidium, but this is Tahitian Dancer, and this has got 2 nice spikes pushing on now. Notice the buds are just starting to show on that taller spike. This spike has only recently started. I need to turn that, otherwise it's going to get caught in that leaf. Yeah, so we've got blooms to come on here on 2 spikes. They are on separate pseudobulbs, so that will be the latest 2 growths have got 1 spike each, and the growths are nice and plump. So this is a recovery. This was in quite a bad way, but it's done roots. The latest 2 growths are nice and plump. The rest of the bulbs have plumped up a bit, which is unusual. Sometimes when they start to shrivel, that's your lot. They don't ever plump up again. But this has recovered quite nicely and is now going to bloom. Now, this is going to be difficult, I think. No, I'm going to show it. This is a rubbish version of Cattleya cernua. Now, it does have a couple of new growths. This was a failing plant. I took it off the old tired moss that was probably acidic and replanted it, and it has got some growth, but not a lot, but there are some new growths. And if you look carefully at that leaf, those are the buds inside the leaf. That's how this one grows. It grows a new growth like that. That then grows a leaf which is folded in half, and as the leaf unfolds, the buds are inside and they expand and then bloom. So that's how that one grows. So we will have some Cernua blooms. It's probably only going to be 1 or 2 buds. This plant is incredibly weak at the moment. It's several pieces. Hopefully it'll recover, but I don't think it's going to recover much in the near future, let's put it that way. That's everything over here. I should be including that monster, but the flipping thing won't bloom. That's Sononcosteli catatanti. It has the most enormous spikes on it, if it ever gets round to doing it. Look at all the new growth on it. Mass of roots. It's a superb plant, absolutely stonking. It just won't bloom. I think it's too happy, it doesn't need to. I was told that once by somebody. Well, your plant's too happy, it doesn't need to bloom, does it? I think they were making it up. Up here, nothing. This section here is plants that are recovering, or kikis. There's not much ever going to go on here as far as buds and blooms are concerned. And over here, there isn't anything at the moment. This Cattleya here, there will be buds inside of that sheath, but they're not there yet. So that when the cane matures on that one, it forms a sheath, and then it looks like it's got buds inside it, but it's an internal sheath. It has a sheath inside a sheath. The buds come later, so that will bloom eventually. And then down here, we've got 2 Paphiopedilums with buds on. This one's obvious, and the other one's hiding behind that leaf because it's my smallest Paphiopedilum. But if you look down there at the crown, we do have a bud starting on that one. So we've got 2 Paphiopedilum buds to come, and both of those will actually be first time bloomers, I believe. I don't believe I've... What is that one? That is the... Yeah, they will both be first time bloomers. So they're relatively new acquisitions, those 2. There's no Masdevallia buds at the moment. We do have another Restrepia down here. There's another 3 over here. 2 that are growing on. They're serious recoveries, they are. They came from Hannah's. No roots and dying leaves. And it's taken 3 years to recover those into growing. But we've got this one here. Again, I will try and get in as close as I can. See if the camera will settle. But we have looked at the Restrepias recently. So there is a video in the not too distant past with nice tripod steady sure shot versions of looking at the blooms. There's that one. Nothing up the back. Then we come over to here. We've got Dendrobium hibiki. This has been in bloom an awful long time. It's growing like mad. It's got new growths coming on all over the place. But when it was repotted, it effectively got set back. And what the setback has done has stopped the growth tips hydrating enough to push them up clean. So the top leaf on these growths is often sticking together and hasn't got enough to push it open. But it's growing, it's doing okay, and it's been in bloom for absolutely ages. The latest buds to open are on this cane here. Most of the buds were down in the centre at the base of the canes, except for this one here. That's on the end of an extended cane, and so is this one here. This is also growing kikis, and it is now growing a decent root system, so it's a nice plant. These have a habit of being a nice plant and then suddenly going downhill and keeling over. But this one seems to be doing okay, so hopefully I can keep this one going. It seems to like this place more than it did the other place, because I had several around the other place and they didn't make it. They didn't last too long. It lasted a while, but then just keeled over. And I think that could have been the heat. perhaps this one prefers it a bit cooler because it seems to be growing well. Then we come to another big Cymbidium. Yeah, these will be open soon. I'm not going to say when, but I would say they would be open within the next week. We should have a bloom open. These are starting to crack at the end. This is a lovely bright daffodil yellow, this one. 2 spikes, good number of blooms. Following a repot, sometimes it's all you can hope for because the disturbance of the roots, you know, it's had to recover its roots. It's been outside for the summer. It's had to put up with 2 heat waves, long, dry, hot spells where it had the hose put on it frequently. Didn't get fed very well as a consequence. So to get blooms at all, I'm pleased. And the new growth that it put on have matured nicely. So that's that one. And then up the top here, we've got nothing up there. Yes, we have. Tell lies. This little miniature Cymbidium, which has beautiful little flowers on, has got a spike coming on. So we will have blooms on there. That better not be a new growth. No, it feels like a spike. So that's that one. Then down here, I had a play with this Oncidium type day before when I watered it, on the grounds that the spikes needed to be spread out so that they were evenly placed around the plant, because some of them were crossing over. They were all too close together. So we've got a nice spread now of the 6 spikes. They're all nice and upright. They've all got a few aphids on them. I shall have to keep my eye on those. They're in here and they're over this side of the grow room, and they're a flipping nuisance. There's only a few, but you know, that's because it's cold. If it gets warmer, they're going to get out of hand, and in which case I'll have to deal with them, you know, with a spray. But at the moment, it's not worth it. It's not enough to bother with. And that's that one. And I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get at the rest. I'm not getting all these Cymbidiums out, but what I can do is point at the buds. Through the shelf there is a nice bloom spike coming up. Soon that Cymbidium will have to come out from this shelf because the buds are going to touch the grid on the top, and we don't want them getting damaged. So again, following a repot, that's done okay. And then the one next to it, again, following a repot, nice bloom spike coming up there. And that one, I believe, has got a second spike coming down near the base somewhere. Yes, down there. So there's a second spike to follow on. And then this is my Dendrobium infundibulum. We've had an accident with this. It fell off the shelf and broke the top of the new cane. So I'm not quite sure what the plant's going to do in response to that, because this was its growing cane, and obviously it was expecting that to mature with a terminal leaf and then become the next cane in line to actually bloom, probably in at least a year's time, because that's how this one seems to work. But these 2 blooms here have been open. Well, that's the thing with these with this type of black hair type, the large whites, the blooms last absolutely ages. And they go almost transparent as they age. They become papery. You can see through them. You see my fingers through the lip. But those 2 have been out ages. But these 2 have just recently opened. So you can see the difference in the colour of the lip. It's a deep. It's bordering on bright orange. Actually, it's gone from yellow. It's become orange. But when they open, it's a more deep yellow colour. So that's 2 recently opened blooms. And then over here we've got a bud that looks like it's going to split into 2 buds, and another one down here coming on. So that one's doing okay. Just a bit concerned about losing the top of that growing tip, but so be it. All right. Then over here we've got the Dendrobium nobile type that's gone. Basically that's the last of the flowers going over now. This one is highly likely to flower mid-season as well, later into next year. because it's got new growths that have matured late. And they haven't bloomed yet. They've got no buds on. It's bloomed on 2 old canes here, so we'll have to see what happens with that one. And then this one is going to be over soon, which is a shame. I'm going to miss this one. Colours are fading dramatically. They're getting very, very pale now. Nonetheless, it's a beautiful bloom. I really like this one a lot. It was a branching spike. It wasn't a strong spike, but then the plant hadn't long been repotted. Didn't have brilliant roots, but it's since grown some reasonable roots, and the latest growth matured. The plant was strong enough to bloom. Got a name about 8 foot long. But I like that one a lot. I like those types of blooms, the old odont type. Next to that we've got our Paphiopedilum blackjack. Still got 3 blooms on. One's gone. This one was a pair, so it's lost one. And the blooms seem to last an awful long time. This one's going to go soon. It's just feeling it. The come on, concentrate. Petals on this are quite firm, but they're not on here. They're all floppy. So I suspect that's the next bloom to go, probably. And then coming around here, we've got another one of these. So I've just spotted some more aphids. Getting quite a few lately. I think what it is I need to go round more often, so that there aren't any, you know, what I didn't get yesterday I get today type thing, so that they don't get a chance to expand. So I'm just fiddling with this bud here, trying to deal with them. They are a nuisance. Still, there's only a few. Yes, we've got this one here. This is, I think this is tiger tail, but you'll get pop-ups anyway. And it's another one of those odont types. You know, they've got a certain shape about them. Petals and sepals are normally the same size, roughly the same shape. They form a nice even star. You know, you can sort of draw a circle around it and it'll touch all the points, and then, you know, a type of lip that is typical of this type of orchid. And that's that one. Both of those odont types are colour changes to a degree. This one changes a little bit, but not much. And this one changes actually quite a bit. The lip changes colour, and the background colour behind the sort of bronzy orangey colour, the colour behind that changes quite dramatically, because it's quite a bright yellow when they first open, and gradually it fades to a creamy colour. So they do change quite dramatically. And then we've got our other Paphiopedilum that's open with the giant flower. This is a I forget what this one is, but very large bloom, lovely bright colours, and it's I don't know whether I hope that can focus close in. The rib down the back of the top of the plant has got like a ridge of hairs all down the back, and lovely colours on the back. Now it also has lovely colours on the front, but because it arches over, you don't get to see the pattern and the colours. But very attractive bloom, that one. And then nearly last but not least is the one that I'm trying to pick all the aphids off, which is this Coelogene. The other 2 spikes have opened up prior to this spike dropping its blooms, although it has dropped 2 or 3, so this spike is starting to fade now. But they've lasted reasonably well. I'm quite pleased. And then we've got the, so you can see the 2 little green aphids on that one. I'll just pick them off and squish them while I'm there. And the other 2 spikes are opening up now. They do have, so you've just taken it off. The bud comes out inside a sheath and pushes the sheath off, which then sort of drops on the floor. There's one there, look. They just drop off. But while they're there, they make the plant look really untidy. I thought they were just part of the plant, but they do loosen and eventually drop off. So we've still got some to open, so this is going to be in bloom some time yet. Very attractive blooms. I like them a lot. Lovely deep colour inside the lip. and some unusual sort of raised sections. They're not hairs as such, but they're like thick hairs, chunky hairs sticking up. So lovely blooms. And then, last but not least and not forgotten, hiding over here at the back is the Vanda, which is in spike, and it looks like it's going to have a lot more buds than I thought it was going to have. Blooms, sorry. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, probably 6, maybe 7. So that's got to do quite a bit of growing yet, because the blooms are enormous and they're going to need space between them, or they will just all overlap and look a mess. But it's not growing strongly, this spike. It is pushing on and the buds are now separating, but these buds need to be like 4 or 5 times as big as that before they open. Otherwise we're just going to get a weak spike, you know, with smaller blooms than what it's capable of. That may have to be what I have to put up with this time round. It's not a strong plant at the moment. Right, so there we go. That's what's going on out here at the moment. Some things still to come, some things on the way out, and some things looking good. So yeah, I'm quite pleased. And for this time of year, that's not bad going. But the you know, in the next few months, the spectacle is going to be the Cymbidiums, basically. They are going to come into their own. We've got the bright yellow one will be open soon. That'll be the forerunner. And then the 2 big spikes we looked at on the plants down on that lower shelf, they will follow on not too far behind. And again, Cymbidiums tend to last a long time, so they should be in bloom for some time. And that Oncidium behind the infundibulum with the 6 spikes, that's not going to be too long before it opens again. So there we go. Everything in bud spike bloom on the 8th, regular monthly feature, so we will revisit this next year. That's the first time I've said that, I think. Yeah. So the 8th in January will be next year. See you then. Bye for now.